Well, here we are now at the noon hour, and things continue to get icier and icier to the north and east of Springfield. Locally in Springfield, roads still just wet, but conditions will worsen later today, and we'll find that, I think, in areas further south as well, maybe even into northern Arkansas this evening. Here's a look at our quad cam right now. Again, just wet conditions in Springfield, wet conditions in the Joplin area, but Lake of the Ozarks, we've got a coating of sleet there on the docks, and in Rolla, you can see the icicles there on the MoDOT camera, along with plenty of sleet on the pavement. So this winter storm continues to unfold, and as it unfolds, we're finding multiple issues. One is certainly going to be the roads. The other are power outages where we've had ice. And you can see in our eastern counties, particularly in Dent County, we have over 700 customers reported without power at this hour, finding also quite a few in Shannon County. And then as we look west back toward the Nevada area, also looking at quite a few people without power. And a lot of that has to do with the freezing rain, particularly in our eastern counties that we've been finding. Right now we can join Angela Luna up in Warsaw, where there has been a messy mix of freezing rain, sleet and snow, and she's got the very latest on what's going on there. Angela?
Yeah, Jamie, as you've been saying, it is icy here. I'm going to step forward just so you can hear the crunch underneath me. I was on the grass, and as I'm stepping more towards like around here, you can see this is a complete sheet of ice. And right before we came out live to you folks, we've been hearing snapping trees, and you can see one right behind me here. We're out in Warsaw. We're in a neighborhood area, and that tree limb is just snapped in half right there. And it's going to keep happening as this ice keeps coming down here. I was speaking to a neighbor here in this neighborhood who has family out in Camden County, saying that there's even some power outages there. So with those snapping trees, as Jamie, you were saying, those power outages, we're getting reports out of Laclede and Pulaski County. So be aware of that, folks. Be careful. We want to do everything to stay warm. Stay off the roads, because as you are more north up here, the roads are starting to get a lot more slick, and this again, a complete sheet of ice where things are going to keep getting messy. We're going to send things back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Angela. Again, be safe up there. Folks, if you are traveling today, we already have issues on area roadways. We can go to our MoDOT Traveler page and show you what road conditions look like north of Springfield up towards central Missouri. You can see that purple shading right there. That indicates that we've got snow, sleet-covered conditions along I-70 from the Casey area all the way into St. Louis. I believe we have a live shot out of St. Louis that we can show you, and it is a snowy scene there. Just checking the reports, I think we've picked up about 2 to 3 inches of sleet and snow out of the St. Louis area, and even areas back toward Oklahoma and Oklahoma City. A very wintry scene there where we find icicles and we find sleet and snow on the ground. Looks like that snow continues to fly in the Oklahoma City area. If you are traveling this afternoon, going back to our MoDOT page, I want to caution you, if we can show there we go. I want to caution you, while road conditions are just wet in southwest Missouri, whether you're heading west on Highway 60 over toward Aurora, or you're heading east on Highway 60 over toward Willow Springs, West Plains. Right now, again, just wet, but temperatures will be falling later this afternoon. And as temperatures fall, we're going to find, I think, roads becoming icy. Plus, the precipitation is not over with. The storm continues to unfold, and we're going to find a messy mix developing further south from where it is right now as we progress through the afternoon and then into the evening hours. So let's go back to that. Again, these are the power outages. Those will continue to worsen, especially in our eastern counties where an ice storm warning remains in effect. This is where accumulations, total ice accumulations of 1/4 to 1/2 inch are expected. Locally, it could be more than 1/2 inch. And for me, the threshold is once you get to 1/4 inch, that's when you're going to have isolated tree damage. You're going to have isolated areas of power outages. I think we're past that point in those areas now. We're looking at about 1/3 inch of ice accumulation and maybe approaching 1/2 inch in some places. And as you approach 1/2 inch, that's when the damage to trees becomes more widespread. The damage to power lines becomes more widespread, and the result will be more in the way of power outages. So looking at the storm, You can see we've had some heavier precipitation sweep through over the last several hours. To the north towards central Missouri, this is primarily sleet that we're finding here along Highway 54. Camdenton reporting, though, all snow at this hour. And as the atmosphere cools from northwest to southeast this afternoon, I think we're going to find that snow line dropping south with time towards southern Missouri. Further south here along Highway 60, again, freezing rain. And notice we've had some lightning in there. And where there's been some lightning and rumbles of thunder, that's also where we've had pockets of sleet along with the freezing rain. I do want to point out that the storm, again, kind of transitioning across the area. So I think the heavier wave of precipitation that we found this morning is on the way out because the dry slot of the storm is starting to punch in from the southwest. Here's the upper level low right there. But that doesn't mean that we're done with the winter weather threat because the back end of this storm is still going to sweep through the area later this afternoon and overnight tonight. So let's take you through the hour-by-hour forecast because things will continue to change through the remainder of the day. So far, this winter storm has been focused north and east of Springfield. Meanwhile, areas to the south, it's just been rain and some thunder. Watch what happens as we work through 3 o'clock and colder temperatures start to work in from the west. We get into a light wintry mix here along I-49 in the Joplin area. That will transition over to snow. In Springfield, I expect that transition over to a light wintry mix sometime between 3 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. And there will be a period of light snow as we head into the evening hours on top of that. This is 7 o'clock. Areas like Ozarks County, east across West Plains should have a light wintry mix of freezing rain and sleet at that point. And notice how we're seeing that light wintry mix also south of the state line at that point into places like Berryville and Harrison. We'll see a quick transition over to a little light snow before things wrap up. 9 o'clock, still got snowflakes flying from Lake of the Ozarks through Springfield down toward Harrison. Still looking at a wintry mix for folks to the east in Shannon County as well as Oregon County. And then as we work through midnight tonight, you can see how the precipitation starts to shut down from west to east. The snow will be still flying, I think, from Lebanon east through Rolla. In Springfield, I would guess that we're still looking at flurries in the air at midnight tonight. And then by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to find that storm pushing off to the east, maybe a few lingering flurries in places like Fort Leonard Wood and Rolla, but for all intents and purposes, the damage will have been done at that point. Additional ice accumulations, and this is from this point forward, looks like we could pick up maybe another tenth, possibly a little more than a tenth of an inch of ice accumulation in Dent County and Shannon County, lesser amounts to the west. Snowfall totals, because we're not done with that facet of this storm, still look relatively impressive here closer to central Missouri, where we're still expecting anywhere from, say, 3 to 5 inches of snow in places like Eldon and Versailles. Rolla expecting maybe close to 4 inches of additional snowfall on top of the sleet that's already accumulated. And into southwest Missouri, I think we're going to get some light accumulations on top of that crust of wintry mix that we get later this afternoon. Maybe amounts of around an inch of snow here in Springfield and probably a dusting to as much as a quarter or a half an inch as far south as Carroll County and Boone County in northwest Arkansas, with a dusting of snow possible also in places like Mountain Home east toward Ash Flat. Temperatures, that's going to be a big story after the storm. Right now we're above freezing, 34 degrees. Notice below freezing closer to central Missouri, hovering around the freezing mark in West Plains. Ava reporting temperatures near freezing with a little bit of icing beginning to develop. As the afternoon wears on, we're going to find temperatures dropping from west to east. Notice Joplin by 3 o'clock down to 26, and Springfield dropping below that critical value of 32 degrees at that point. Near freezing in Ava, but still above in Branson and Harrison. That will change, though. It looks like by 6 o'clock below freezing in Branson. That's when roads are going to start getting slick in that area and should start getting slick in the Harrison area shortly after 6 o'clock, especially because not only are temperatures dropping, but we're losing daylight. Even if your temperatures are below freezing with an event going through, that sun is still working through those clouds and working on the pavement, and that helps to offset the freezing temperatures. And you tend to keep roadways wet if it's just marginally freezing. But as soon as you lose that daylight, as soon as the sun starts to dip toward the horizon, those roads can quickly freeze up. And I think that that's what we're going to find as we work through this evening. By 9 o'clock tonight, everybody below freezing, well below in most cases, 18 in Springfield. And as we start the day on Monday, brutally cold out there. Temperatures in the low teens. That will come with wind chills below zero And as we work through the day on Monday, this is roughly what we're looking at for afternoon highs, if you want to call it that. Looks like low to mid 20s, pretty common across the area, maybe as warm as 29 in Mountain Home. And this will be the beginning of an extended stretch of below freezing temperatures, not just the lows, the highs too. I don't think we go back up above freezing until Thursday of this week. So the snow, the freezing rain, the sleet that's accumulating right now will remain on the ground for the next several days and on roadways. So I do expect probably widespread school closures for tomorrow morning, and especially in those rural school districts, the likelihood that those schools will remain closed maybe for much, if not all, of this week. So that's the very latest on this winter storm. Again, here in southwest Missouri and northern Arkansas, we really haven't had to deal with the icy component of the storm, but that will change later today.